Let's get going. Let's start off. I'm going to call it a prayer. But it's not a prayer. It's like an affirmation. And I want you to remember this. Because I think you need somebody to tell you. Because I want to be your spiritual leader. I want to be your guru. I want to be the person that tells you this is what you need because you need help. You need help. You need guidance. You need a mature voice. A man of experience. And that's me. Number one. Everybody stand, rise, put your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag. Really the Constitution, but I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ego vexillo unitorum statuum Americae ac rei publicae quam designat fidelitatem spandio uni natione sub Deo indivisibili cum libertate atque justitia omnibus. Remember this. Number one, if you don't win the election, you don't win anything. If you don't win the election, you don't win anything. If you do not win the election, you do not win. Getting hits, getting likes, appearing on Valuetainment, getting a lot of followers, great. Different schedule. If we don't win the election, we don't win anything. You understand this? Can't say it anything better. Number one. Number two. Not everything you believe in should be brought up in elections. You're going to scare people. Nobody's going to come to your side that you're trying to pull in to the right or whatever this is if you're going to hit them with mRNA vaccine horror stories. 9/11 discussions about melting points in Building 7. Chemtrails, geoengineering. Did you hear what I said? Gun stuff. Lay off the guns. This isn't the, what are you, Wayne LaPierre? This isn't about the Second Amendment. You're trying to win an election. Lay off. Lay off the gun stuff. I like it. You like it. We're not going to win that way. What do people want? Take your niche kind of politics and forget it. Put it elsewhere. I don't know how to say this other than to say what I'm telling you. I know people who are into this lunacy where they believe that somehow, I don't know what, but that somehow you're going to win some middle of the road or some undecided person by talking about bump stocks, black talon bullets, the Second Amendment. What? What? No. Or to start scaring them about COVID. No. This is the idiocy. If we don't win the election, it's a wasting time. What do you think yesterday was? What do you think? What do you think that whole thing was? Emma Jo Morris did a wonderful job representing the laptop from hell. Bobby Kennedy, wonderful job. And that sour dude. What was the message for the undecided middle-of-the-road voter? What was it? What was it? Tell me. What was it? What was the message? You think people understood this? What was it? How do you explain to somebody why this is important? See, we think that because we know something, everybody knows it. We think that because we understand it, everybody knows this stuff. So you could say, okay, I'm going to talk to you as an insider, or I'm going to talk to you about conspiracist stuff that you would get. We'll talk about HARP and In-Q-Tel and DARPA and Operation Popeye and all that stuff. if you want to do that. Or you can go into these people who are into this thing now where all they do is they want to talk about vaccines. Now, that's okay. You're entitled to talk about whatever you want. Where do you think this is going? What do you think is going? What do you think is going to happen? Tell me. What? What do you want? Forgiveness? What? What do you want? Tell me what you want. I don't know. I know people who keep talking about it. Well, there was another track star who dropped dead. Okay, what do you want? Well, I'm just pointing it out to you. What are you saying? What, it was the vaccine, 2 years ago? Is that what are you saying? What are you getting at? Tell me. How does this explain what's going on? What? So remember, if it doesn't affect elections, I'm not interested in it right now. I mean, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it kind of like parlor game stuff. You want to talk about that? I was listening to a great debate about what the Treaty of Versailles did to basically spur on and to promote, promulgate, and encourage World War II. You want to talk about that? Yeah, well, you're the only one. Nobody else does. Good luck with that one. Now, let's move on to some other stuff, which was very interesting. Here's a story that has absolutely no relevance. It's just kind of fun because I know you love this. There are people who believe, and they can't prove it, but they will always believe that there's the Clinton body count. And they will always say, it's amazing, actuarially, how many people who were involved or who knew the Clintons somehow found themselves mysteriously. What do you think about that? Isn't that interesting? Well, that is interesting. And they will have a list. Can you prove anything? Of course not. Of course not. But it is interesting, and it is of note. And there's a meme, and there's a theme, and it's repeated by those of us in this neck of the woods who love this. Now, I wouldn't do this on the campaign trail. So Anthony Weiner, apparently, this was so interesting. Anthony Weiner, who is the Nathan Thurm of, and ask your parents, by the way, he appears on the Valuetainment website, okay? And on the PBD broadcast, Patrick Ben David. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't. Patrick, Adam, and Tom were joined by former Congressman Anthony Weiner. Normally they say disgraced. For one of the show's spiciest episodes yet, from RFK conspiracy theories and COVID death tolls to the Clinton death list and Weiner's own troubled past. The discussion covered it all. The discussion began with Patrick and Weiner addressing the 2024 presidential race. As Patrick said, Weiner was a relentless campaigner during his time in Congress and his 2 runs for mayor of New York City, giving him an opening to weigh in on the presidential race. And he goes through whatever it is. Now, watch this. It's very, very interesting. It's a very interesting story. And you will love it because it's gossipy, it's snarky, and you can make fun of Anthony Weiner and make fun of his name and that kind of thing. Now, what was accomplished with this? Well, nothing. But it's interesting to see how he, like Mike Pence, doesn't understand by now, how do you handle these questions about Hillary? Remember your laptop? Remember that story? Remember the story about, remember the famous Hillary, this video? And I mean, it was, and I know people who talked about it so much, it became real. I'm not saying it's real or not real. I never saw it. But people said it was such frequency that they said, yes, there's a video that made NYPD officers sick and detectives who saw it. Who had it? Well, it's on a laptop, whatever it was. And it became real. And it was talked about with such frequency. By the way, that's something that you have to understand, whether it's, do you know that the whole, pardon my expression, I'm sorry to say, but the whole Pissgate story, I've never understood that one yet. Nobody's ever even explained that one to me. Why did Trump purportedly do this again? What is the reason? What is this about? I have no idea. What are you talking about? But you said it, or they said it with such frequency. He paid 2 Russian hookers to do what? Why did he do that? I don't know. And they referred to a golden reference, which it's not. It's urolagnia or undonism at best. But I'm wasting my time going through all of these specific references. Do you understand what's happening here? Do you kind of see what's the story here? What's in store? Do you kind of sort of maybe see this? It's fascinating. So anyway, so it's a very interesting story. So I talk about this, kind of walk. It's interesting. It's meaningless. It's kind of funny. It goes to show you, why hasn't Weiner figured this one out yet? Why didn't Mike Pence know that when Tucker Carlson asked him, why are we sending money to Ukraine? The New York Post is going crazy. Did you see their front page today? There really is no front page because nobody ever sees a front page. The New York Post has a front page about Biden, but at the top there's the American flag. At the top right is Ukraine. Why are they doing this? Because Rupert Murdoch is still trying to expiate, atone, and apologize for Tucker Carlson and the whole anti-Ukraine stuff, because he's got so many deals with deep state globalist folks. He's doing everything up to and including canning Hunter and perpetuating this notion that we support Ukraine, whatever that means. So you just kind of read through this stuff. Now, what I've just talked about is kind of interesting. To most voters, they have no idea what you're talking about. This is inside baseball stuff. You and I talk about this because, well, this is this conspiracist stuff. Now, you're not going to hear this on Fox News, especially now, because Fox News has been defanged. Fox News has been defanged, and here's the best part. The other factions are going to be saying, we're picking up all of the viewers from Fox News. No, you're not. And the real truth is that Fox News doesn't make its money with news. So let's just go through this, okay? So step number 1, going back to what I said, this is our prayer. If this doesn't translate into votes, this is a waste of time. Somebody mentioned Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Nobody cares who she is. I want to know what the hell she puts in her hair. What is this, grease? What is this? What is this, Crisco? What is this axle grease? This shiny dippity-doo? What is this stuff she puts in her hair? I don't want to spend enough time on that. That's okay. This woman Giles was talking yesterday about all of the death, and she was here in New York. The trucks of dead people. Where? They write about it. Well, there are trucks you can see all the time. Where? There's so many dead people from COVID. We can't even. Where? I've asked people. Other than in the story, where was this? Well, nobody's going to challenge that one. No. So, how do you explain the Hunter Biden Burisma coercion shakedown? How do you explain it? Not to me, not to somebody who watches, News Nation or Newsmax or any of the others. They know that story. How do you explain it to somebody who is not particularly versed with this? How do you explain it? How do you explain it? Nobody can tell me. What do you say? I don't know. Can we talk about Debbie Wasserman Schultz's hair? No. How do you explain this? That was a great story. Mainstream media ignored it. The way they said, well, it's so-called whistleblower. Explain this to me. Explain this to me. How do we win with this? My job is not to be necessarily just, hey, wasn't that something? Did you see that part? It sounded like Chris Farley. You remember the part where Bobby Kennedy said, yeah, that was cool. What am I doing? What is the point of this? Where is this going? What's going to happen to it? This is the umpteenth hearing we've had. The umpteenth hearing that makes great clips. I'm surprised John Kennedy wasn't in there. Or Cruz, or one of the usual, or Josh Hawley with his book on manliness. Okay, this is great. Where are we going? Now, how do I turn this? Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Undecided America, here's what you have to think. 1, Joe Biden shook down Burisma, this Ukrainian oil energy company, shook them down for $10 million when he was the vice president. Number 1. Number 2, they took his son and abused him. This baby, this kid, this evil seed should be nowhere near something like this. This kid should be in mandatory lockup, dried out, sent to a monastery on top of a mountain, and never released until he's better. But they put him in the position, a lot of high tension stuff, so that he can be the go-between, the bagman, on behalf of the Biden family. Number 3, Biden is so brash. He I think he was at a CFR meeting. He said, and I told that Ukrainian president, you fire that prosecutor who's investigating Burisma, the people that we're working with, the people that are paying me. You fire that prosecutor who is investigating my benefactor, or we're going to take the $1 billion plus and we're out of here. He said this. He admitted this. Christopher Wray, forget the 1023. You got it right here. This is called bribery. And what so hard people don't understand is, yes, he actually did this in front of everybody. He did this in front of the world. He told you what he was doing, and nobody did anything about it. You try that. You try that. In law, we have a thing called the golden rule. You don't do golden rule, you get a mistrial. You don't go to a jury and say, how would you feel? How would you feel if that was your daughter who was mauled who got that chicken McNugget, whatever? How would you feel? Let's send them. No. This is not about how would they feel. This is a golden rule. You don't do that. Or let's send a message. Let's teach those. No, they're not legislators. Just ask them to weigh the evidence. But in politics, you do it all the time. This wouldn't work for you. You couldn't do this. This is graft. He got $10 million. $10 million. And it's right there. And the people who had to come forward are whistleblowers, and they had to be granted whistleblower status because you can ask the 50 people who somehow ended up on the Kennedy list and are no longer here to hear their name called at roll, if you know what I mean. You've got to really explain this, really bring this down, really contract the story so that people grasp it, so that people understand it. That's what we're talking about. Not this inside stuff. And the fact that, this is interesting, and that the government went to social media platforms and said, ban these people. I think that's too much explanation. That's not going to win over somebody who is undecided. That doesn't grab people. Sorry. Works wonders for me, doesn't do anything for them. You dig? That's the thing. Kids. Crime. Very simple. What was that? Crime. Crime works all the time. There is a wonderful video. I want you to look at this group. They are on YouTube. No, excuse me. They're on video. And they are, let me see if I can show this to you. They are, I got to show you this one. Is it called Catch Up? No. Yeah, Catch Up. Catch Up Feed. At Catch, C-A-T-C-H, not like ketchup. Catch Up Feed. And you see the most incredible things you have ever seen in your life. And you see the most, I hate to use this word, amazing examples of nothing but crime and graft and violence in Finland and all over the world. Paris, the city of lights, destroyed. San Francisco, destroyed. It's happening here. This is how you get people. This is the thing which is the most important. And we are doing the worst job getting the message out to undecideds. We are doing the worst job. We talk to ourselves. We sit around and we love to just yuck it up. We love to send each other inside stuff. We love to, laugh and watch this and watch Guppa. But in terms of winning, no. These people have it all taken care of. They have the election taken care of. They have everything taken care of. They have everything worked out. Do you hear what I'm saying? We're losing. We're losing this. And this is great stuff, and this is wonderful. But where's the RNC going out and selling this to individual people? Where are swing voters in swing states? Why isn't this being spread? They're going to steal the election again legally. Do you hear what I'm saying? So this is great stuff. It's fun and it's wonderful and I love it and we can talk about this. I will talk anytime to you as far as anything that goes regarding subject matter that is so arcane and recondite, regarding whatever you want, whatever you'd like. What would you like? We can talk about social media stuff. Believe it or not, you think I'm kidding, because there's a sense of, detachment. Do you know what gets more to the mom, the suburb mom? Used to call them soccer moms, but if I said, look at what they've done to Barbie. Do you know how important that message is? Now, most people would say, a lot of Republicans would say, I don't get what that means, so I'm going to reject it. I'm going to talk about the Weiner laptop. No. Stick with me. This gets them. Look what they did. This is an American institution. How many girls say, I had Barbies? Look what they did. Out of all the movies and all the things, they want to go after that, which is fundamentally that part. This was from your life, but this is also something which was about being a girl. Do you hear what's happening right now? Being a girl. The men are idiots, and the girls, well, they can be men. Do you see what's happening now? I guarantee you, if we walked into a group of people, let's say they're at a library, or a library, as some people say, and I say, okay, you're going to win them over, right? What are you going to talk about? Well, I'm going to talk about the laptop. You're going to talk about the 100 pound. Okay, what else are you talking about? Well, Ukraine. Okay. What else? Burisma. Okay. What else? Good. Well, when you get done, if I can wake them up after you're done, I'm going to talk about Barbie. And I'm going to scare the hell out of these people. I'm going to talk about something that makes sense to them. They can say, I never thought about that. And depending upon where I go, oh, I'm going next. I'm going to, by the way, country music. Look what they're doing to country music. When you lose country music, this is Roy Acuff, this is Merle Haggard, this is George Jones, Lefty Frizzell, Hank Williams. This is America as America. And you're losing. And Jason Aldean writes a song that basically says, try destroying this in small town America, the backbone of country music. And what are they doing? Nothing. They're going after country music. And NASCAR is next. Remember that guy, what was his name? Bubba Wallace or somebody? With that noose they supposedly found? It was used to pull down a garage door. Remember that? That went nowhere. You mentioned country music. You mentioned Nashville. You mentioned the Ryman Auditorium. You mentioned the Opry in certain parts. Mention Barbie. This is what they immediately, look what they're going after. They're doing this by design. This isn't by accident. If I go after things that are fundamentally, quintessentially American, they go after the tradition and the memories and the identities. And if these people if Joe Biden and his ilk, and by the way, it's not just Joe Biden, it's going to be Gavin Newsom next. They want to destroy our cities, destroy our families, destroy our gender. You go after it. You use that. Don't talk about laptops. Don't talk about mRNA. Don't do this. You're wasting your time if you want to win an election. Remember, the left hates you. They don't care. Don't worry about them. The right, they're already there. I'm only interested in the middle. Now, how do I get their attention? By going into their heart, by grabbing them by the heart and saying, you know what, that son of a bitch is right. He's right. Yep, I'm right. And I'm going to tell him, let me tell you what I'm about. I'm about a very simple thing. Keeping our traditions, our culture, our country of America. And you can read into that all you want. Some people are going to say, oh, that's racist. I didn't say white America. There's white America, black America, Latino America, Asian America. It's called America. And we love heterogeneity. We love that. We love diversity. We've had diversity. We love diversity. The last thing in the world, listen to our music, look at our culture, look at our food, we love it. The only diversity we don't like is diverse crime. We don't like that. And diversity is one thing, perversity is another. We believe in little things. Leave kids alone. Let them be who they want to be. And if ever there is the case where a child wants to, with his parents' advice, I'm not saying there should be no ability for a doctor and a patient to have a particular type of surgery. I don't think the government should say you cannot have gender reversing surgery. You can't do that. Who are we to telling the doctors that? You want to tell doctors you can't do that. Next, they're going to say you can't do circumcisions. Next, certain therapy we don't want you to do. We don't want you using drug therapy. We don't want you using conversion therapy. Conversion therapy is that therapy that says that people who are gay can be talked out of it. I think it's nonsense. But I don't want to tell the government or tell a therapist what they can and can't say. I'm not going to do that. What's the matter with you? That's precisely what's going on. That is precisely what is going on. We're being given a second chance right now. Remember one thing. Trump is looking at his third indictment for cases that people cannot even figure out. There was a case today of another cold case that was found because of DNA after years later. They found the Gilgo murderer because of a discarded pizza crust. But they can't figure out whose cocaine it was in the White House. Come on, stop it. They're going after this. They're going after Trump on his third indictment for cases I don't even understand. I don't even understand. In terms of exactly what did he do? But then you have Joe Biden and his son basically shaking down Burisma. No, this has got to stop. And that's why it's all up to us at the polls. If they don't win at the polls, if they don't, that's it. They're telling Trump now that he supposedly incited riots. Hillary Clinton did the same thing. Stacey Abrams did it. Hillary Clinton, New York Times, people said, you don't have to vote This is during the 2016 election. They said the same thing. See, they think they can tell us what we want. I mentioned My Pillow, Mike Lindell. You don't like Mike Lindell? Fine. It's okay. Papa John's Pizza. They didn't like that guy. I'm not sure what the hell he said, but they didn't like him. Okay. Ben and Jerry's, they love him. Trash this country. Talk about reparations and just trash them, and they love you. But if you're Mike Lindell, another story. And that's why, by the way, he's been a sponsor since day one. And the link is right there. And I think he can say anything he wants. I think Ben and Jerry can say whatever they want. I'm not telling them they can't. Never saying that. Never for a minute. But isn't it something how the left loves that? And by the way, you know what they were talking about yesterday? Or during this whistleblower? About the lottery. What would you do with $1 billion? Unbelievable. So that's it, my friends. That's it. I'm not gonna browbeat you. You go out there today and you make sure you know what you do what you think is right. Don't let anybody ever tell you what you have to do. You know what's right for yourself. Don't look for favor in any people. Don't look for people to endorse what you're saying. Don't look to others to verify and validate the legitimacy of what you're saying. You say anything you want. If you believe it, say it. It's that simple. That's all. That's all. Stick to it. The Republicans and the Democrats, worthless. Americans, different story. Different story. And if we don't win 2024, it's it. And right now, as it stands, if I'm going to bet, put all your money on Gavin Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer. They're ready to take this election again. What are you doing? We're having wonderful hearings on laptops. And we're laughing about Debbie Wasserman Schultz's hair and Anthony Weiner. We're having a grand old time. And the Democrats are laughing. They're saying, we're ready to go. You're going to do the same thing. Watch this. And Gavin Newsom's going to walk right into the White House. And he's not going to give him a hard time. He's going to know exactly what to say. They have been grooming him his whole life. And what do we have? Well, we got DeSantis, who is so pathetic and so horrible, standing behind his wife. He's begging for a debate because it's the only hope he has. He's been the biggest flop there is. We've been talking about this since the beginning. He did some wonderful stuff for Florida, but that's it. He just doesn't, it's not ready for the big show. And that's it. Who else? Trump. Trump will probably be the nominee. And the best thing that ever happened, Bobby Kennedy Jr. and Tucker. Tucker from the right, pulling people into the middle. Bobby from the left, pulling people into the middle. That's the greatest combo there is. And that poses doom because Bobby is going to pull people away from the Democrats. And they're going to hand it to Trump. That's why if you think electioneering and shenanigans were big then, oh, wait till you see the Democrats now. Oh, my God. All right, dear friends. Now, let me tell you again, very, very, very specifically. You've got the My Pillow link. I'm telling you and asking you again, we are a My Pillow house. The slippers they're the biggest sellers they have. Show your support by doing that. Next, this is Mrs. L's YouTube channel. She did a brand new video on Barbie and this Barbie movie. It's not what you think. Very critically targeted for a reason. Do you understand that? Very, 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 very critically targeted for a reason. And then there's another story too. Now, when I got done, people have asked me about this. He goes, what about this private channel you've got? What is this? Well, it works like this. I have got a list of about 50 to 100 things I can't talk about. It's just made very, very clear. We do not talk about this on social media. Don't. I said, okay, fine. So I have a private channel. I can say what I want. My language is a little bit more. I don't cuss gratuitously. If the word is critical, I'll do it. But I talk about things that frankly you can't talk about here. And the things which fascinate me to no end, geoengineering, history, false flags, lies, 9/11 is still one of the greatest stories ever because nobody knows anything about it. UFOs, cover-ups, distortion, just all of the great, great, great stuff. And the people who are in the business who are there to distort the truth. That's all. That's all. I'm very, very simple. I talk about anything. I want to talk about anything. But there are certain rules for certain subjects, I guess. In any event, dear friends, you have a great and a glorious day. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Don't ever change me that sincerely. We'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. And until then, remember these words as we always end with this valedictory, this sayonara, this adios. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.